I really began to learn about food when I stopped being a general surgeon and began studying traditional East Asian medicine. Yes, there are some nutrition classes in medical school, but they're focused on the biochemistry of minerals and vitamins, the fact that you get scurvy if you don't get enough vitamin C. We learned a little bit about macronutrients, carbs and proteins and fat, but I only ever used that information to write for IV nutrition support after taking out, for example, someone's stomach cancer. So when I think about all the years that I spent learning about physiology and biophysics and how to cut and sew the gut, I'm retrospectively shocked that we never really discussed how to feed ourselves or learned the big picture of what the gut is doing in relationship to the body as a whole. It took for me leaving conventional medicine to realize the power of food. Conventional medicine is strangely the only whole body system of medicine that does not emphasize food. Anyone who has seen a naturopathic doctor or gone to an acupuncturist has been asked extensively about their food preferences and food choices and body's responses to food. It's only in conventional medicine that we don't really start with a dietary history when we're learning about a patient's health concerns or how to best keep the person, help the person get better. Food is actually our most impactful and most ubiquitous form of medicine. You can't medicate or operate away the choices that you make about food, and you make those choices multiple times a day. So I'd like you to consider that each time you put something in your mouth, you're making the choice to be sicker or to be healthier. Your meals are your best medicine, and I'd like to invite you to think about them as just that, as medicine meals. In traditional East Asian medicine, food is the first line of defense against viruses and bacteria. So if you have chills, you take foods to warm you, like cinnamon and ginger, herbs that we think about with Thanksgiving and the winter holidays. If you're feverish, you cool yourself down with mint and citrus, flavors that we relate to summertime and 4th of July picnics. If your throat hurts, we recommend licorice and other demulcents, herbs that moisten mucous membranes and soothe, the throat. As I was exposed to these remedies, it seemed fine to recommend them based on the 2,000 plus years of clinical trials in Chinese medicine, but I had no idea about the number of hardcore researched, medical papers written about these subjects. So let's consider just 2 ingredients that you're likely to use every day: onions and cayenne. In Chinese medicine, onions are one of the most used foods because they're broadly antimicrobial. They prevent infections from little heebie-jeebies of any type. And this observation was based on the fact that people who ate a lot of onions had fewer infections. So they were added to many dishes during a time before clean water and hand washing to keep people from getting sick. Modern research has shown that onions prevent replication of viruses and do this in collaboration with the host's immune system. They're also really high in vitamin C and quercetin. Quercetin is a flavonoid that's antiviral and antioxidant. When you're sick, you want some inflammation, but anyone who's tried to sleep with an inflamed, stuffy nose, you want to limit that inflammation as much as possible. So when you're sick, one of the things your immune system is doing to kill off the virus is to napalm it with reactive oxygen compounds. And so you need an antioxidant to control the napalm and keep it from killing the healthy cells. Cayenne is a spice that has a lot of capsaicin, and I was curious for a long time about why people that live in hot parts of the world eat a lot of spicy food. Mexican food, Indian food, Thai food, it's all really spicy, and it seems backwards to eat something that generates not only heat in your mouth, but makes you feel hot all over. So there's a small place in your brain that the capsaicin stimulates called the hypothalamus. This structure keeps your body temperature around the same place all day long. When you exercise, your muscles burn energy and you make heat as a byproduct. So your hypothalamus recognizes this, opens the pores on your skin, and makes you sweat. The sweat evaporates and cools you off. Capsaicin also stimulates the mucous membranes in the nose and sinuses and directly opens the sweat glands on your skin. There's even some newer research showing that capsaicin binds to similar receptors on the lining of the intestines and the chest cavity. So this molecule of capsaicin in your pad thai binds to the receptors in your gut, starts to cool your body off immediately. It crosses from your small intestine into your bloodstream, roams around until it finds your sinuses, where it stimulates the lining to make more mucus, which is a little annoying if you're sitting at dinner, but really helpful if you've got a bunch of viruses in your nose sitting there that need to be flushed out. It also cruises up to your head, crosses the blood-brain barrier, circulates around in your brain until it finds the hypothalamus, and there it binds to temperatures that create that heat loss response. So when they disable or knock out capsaicin receptors in the mice have much higher fevers, and they're not able to maintain their body temperatures to keep cool when subjected to higher ambient temperatures. So think about that for a minute. Your body thinks it's so important to receive that capsaicin food signal that it creates and maintains all those receptors for capsaicin all over the place, so your food can help you regulate fever and stay cooler when it's hot outside. Your body wants food medicine. When you start to dive into the beautiful complex relationship that your body has with the food that you eat, you begin to appreciate why cupcakes and soda make your body feel bad. But I'd like to spend a few moments on exactly how that works. The planet Earth is home to thousands of species, but we need a balanced ecosystems for the species and for the Earth to be healthy. So you're each an Earth to the thousands of species of yeasts and bacteria and parasites and other little creatures that you really don't want to think about when you're lying in bed at night that call you their home. So what happens to the Earth if you dump a bunch of sugar into the ground? Let's say you bury a donut and some ice cream and some leftover birthday cake. What will grow? I'll give you a hint. It is not celery. So to be clear, when I say sugars in this context, I'm not talking about the kinds that come in fruits or even vegetables like potatoes. I'm talking about foods that don't look like a part of nature, foods that don't actually have any food with them and may come with rainbow sprinkles. Fruits and vegetables are largely carbohydrates. They are not bad. No one would argue that they are not healthy. But the fiber in these plants helps your body to rapidly absorb the sugars. And because cake is not a high fiber food, you blast your bloodstream, diabetes, and supersaturate your gut microbiome with sugar fertilizer, causing molds and yeast to grow. And when yeast see that they have a plentiful food supply, they begin to transform from a passive, just hanging out in the colon kind of spore form into a more invasive hyphal form. And if you're not eating enough antimicrobial vegetables to counteract those brownies, the yeast attach to your gut lining and start communicating with your nervous system. So please take what I'm about to say next literally. The yeast communicate with your brain and tell you that they need more sugar so they can grow big and strong. Your brain starts to think about a second brownie. But what the yeast neglected to tell your brain is that part of their evil plan is roaming all over your body, confusing the immune system, causing skin issues, nail fungus, itch, brain fog, and difficulties with focus and concentration. So on the one hand, we have vegetables and herbs that are helping your body function optimally, fighting infections, keeping you cool when it's hot, and helping to control your fever. On the other hand, we have food choices that disrupt your body's ecosystem, impede your immune system, and make thinking and focus difficult. So food is our most ubiquitous form of medicine. It's beautiful and joyous and a pleasure to consume. You can't say that about any medication and certainly not about any surgery. So the next time you choose to eat something, choose to make it a medicine meal.